Hey everyone, welcome to the Dyl Pickle Movie Network. I am Dylan Randazzo. Welcome, happy, good morning to you all. Sorry, my voice is shot, my sinuses are shot. Super Bowl Sunday paired with just a very busy schedule, very busy life. Sometimes it takes its toll, especially when there's still snow falling in February. The groundhog saw its shadow. But I think that means there's more winter to come. Either way, we are here. This is a very exciting video I get to make every single year for you all. An announcement of my Pickle Award nominations. The fifth annual Pickle Awards is here. It is among us. It is coming soon, and I'm so excited to share with you all of my favorites for each of these categories, from superlatives like Best Kiss or Best Villain Performance, all the way to the big prestige categories like cinematography and director, and of course, actor, actress, and the Best Picture of the year. Now, what I will say, a little disclaimer, is that there are still so many films that I've not gotten around to yet. I just haven't had a chance to sit down and watch Hundreds of Beavers yet. I haven't been able to see All We Imagine Is Light. There are some big titles that I haven't gotten around to yet. So if you don't see a title on this lineup of nominees, and you're like, Dylan, what is wrong with you? How could you not nominate so-and-so? Go check in my letterbox and see if I've logged it. If I haven't logged it, then there's a chance I haven't seen it yet, and I just haven't been able to give it the consideration it needs to get on this list. Also, if there is an omission and I have seen it, chances are it was just a very stacked category, and I can't fit everyone in, especially Best Actress. There were 7 names that I had to shrink down to 5, and it was an agonizing task. But I rest assure you, this is still a very great crop of nominees. I'm very excited for you to see what my favorites of the year were. And I will not be the only one awarding awards. Every single year, I give the audience their say. I do set the nominations, but you have a say in who wins because we do an audience award. And then, of course, the Pickle Award. So this will go to my winner, but you, the audience, will get a say. So after this, the voting will be open. Today is the 11th. It will close the midnight, the 17th, going into the 18th. So you have a little less than a week to get it in. You have almost a whole week to vote if you would like to. And we're going to do something a little differently as well. The Best Picture prize is actually going to be a preferential ballot this year, because I figured every so often we get such close votes that I've had to run into tiebreakers twice now. Twice before I've had to go to a tiebreaker for certain categories, especially Best Picture. So I figured let's make Best Picture a preferential ballot. That way there's no possibility of a tie. That way you will have it ranked. That way we will do it the way the Oscars do it and make it a preferential ballot. I think it's a good experiment. If for some reason one film gets all the number 1 votes, then we won't need the preferential ballot anyway. As you know from the Oscars, that is a consolation in case a film doesn't get a majority of votes on the first go. So we are going to test it out this year, seeing how that goes. There's also one other thing I wanted to announce before we get right into these nominations, and that is that there is one last award category that I'm adding this year, which is the Legacy Award. What this is going to be awarding someone that I feel has made a huge impact on cinema, a huge impact on my life, a huge impact on the other hosts of the channel's lives as well, and the state of film as a whole. So I decided what better way to indoctrinate this award for this ceremony than to award the very first Legacy Award to Mr. David Lynch. So David Lynch will be the first recipient of the Legacy Award. We will do a little tribute to him as a part of the Pickle Awards. This will become a new yearly tradition, and along with the in memoriam, we will honor someone who has sadly left us with this Legacy Award as a thank you for the legacy they leave behind and the impact they have left us. So David Lynch going to be the first ever Legacy Award recipient. I'm very, very excited for that. But let's get into it. Let's get into the nominations right now. I'm ready to open the floodgates of these comments open, ready for all of you to come at me with all your snubs, surprises, and hopefully very kind criticisms once you see all my nominees here. But I am very excited, and these mean a lot to me. So you might disagree with them, but these are the films, the texts, the superlatives, the designers that I felt most connected to this year in a great year of cinema. I always say there's always great years of cinema, just you have to look for the right movies. And this year, I think both Oscar movies and just regular genre pictures, studio films, I thought this was a very good year across the board. But my voice is going, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, everyone, here we go. We're going to start with some superlatives out the gate just to ease our way in before we get to some of the heavy-hitting categories. These are superlatives that I love to do to just acknowledge the different elements of a movie that don't normally get their recognition, one of them being this first award, which is the Best Movie Opening. And the nominees for the Best Movie Opening are Anora, The Brutalist, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Twisters. Those are the nominees for Best Movie Opening. Moving on now to the Best Movie Closing. These are the best final scenes or final shots or final sequences of a film. The nominees are Anora, Challengers, Dune Part 2, I Saw the TV Glow, and The Substance. Moving on now, we have the category for Best Villain or Antagonist Performance. So these are any villainous figures played by actors on screen. The nominees for Best Villain and or Antagonist Performance are Kevin Durand, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Josh Hartnett, Trap, Chris Hemsworth, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, and Dennis Quaid, The Substance. Moving on now to another superlative, we have Best Kiss, a category that derived from the MTV Movie Awards, but now it is a mainstay of the Pickle Awards. The nominees for Best Kiss are Gideon Adlin and Jenna Ortega, Miller's Girl, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling, The Fall Guy, Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya, Dune Part 2, Lily Rose Depp and Bill Skarsgård, Nosferatu, and Mike Feist, Josh O'Connor, and Zendaya, Challengers. The first ever 3 triple nominee for one kiss. First time ever 3 actors have been nominated for a single kiss, and 2-time nominee there, Zendaya, nominated against herself in this category. Moving on now, along with Best Kiss, we have the Best On-Screen Couple. The nominees are Adria Arjona and Glenn Powell, Hitman, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling, The Fall Guy, Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh, We Live in Time, Katie O'Brien and Kristen Stewart, Love Lies Bleeding, and Maisie Stella and Percy Hines-White, My Old Ass. Next, moving on to the worst film of the year. This is the only category that awards the worst, not the best, but there's always a little fun in it. You know, I'm not completely dunking on these films. I'm celebrating them for being bad, which is an honor in a strange kind of 180 way. But here we go. The nominees for Best Worst Film of the Year. Best Worst. The nominees for Worst Film of the Year are Afraid. AI is AI. Afraid. That's how you would pronounce it. I don't know how to pronounce it. Afraid. Afraid. Anyway, moving on. Joker, Folie à Deux, Madame Web, Maxine, or Maxine, another one that's tricky to pronounce based on the way it's spelled on the poster, and Roadhouse, in the Peter Griffin voice. Roadhouse. All right, moving on. We're going to get into some of the legit categories now. We're going to get into Best Original Score. Here's some music categories, kicking it off with Best Original Score. And for me, I'm not the Oscars, so I'm not going to be a stickler for how much original versus adapted score is in there. If most of the compositions are new to the film, it counts. You will see it with one example here. But here we go. Best Original Score. The nominees are The Brutalist, composed by Daniel Bloomberg, Challengers, composed by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, Dune Part 2, composed by Hans Zimmer, Horizon, An America's Saga, Chapter 1, composed by John Debney, and The Wild Robot, composed by Chris Bowers. Next, moving on to the Best Original Song. The nominees are Claw Machine from I Saw the TV Glow, I Always Wanted a Brother from Mufasa the Lion King, Like a Bird from Sing Sing, Release from Trap, and Starburned and Unkissed, I Saw the TV Glow. And now, the second year for a new category last year, which was Best Use of a Pre-Existing Song. So this is any needle drop, this is any song that is sung by a character in the movie that already existed before the movie was made. Here are the nominees for Best Use of a Pre-Existing Song. Greatest Day, the Robin Schulz rework from Anora, Like a Prayer from Deadpool and Wolverine, Pump It Up from The Substance, Rock DJ from Better Man, and The Times They Are A-Changin' from A Complete Unknown. Moving on next, we're going to move on to some of the other new categories from last year that are now going to be in the rotation. Starting off with the Best Documentary, Pro Shot, or Concert Film. And I can tell you right now, all 5 of these are documentaries. So they are all going to be documentaries. But for the sake of consistency and continuity, we will also be including in future or past years Pro Shots and Concert Films. But here we go. The top 5 documentaries. My nominees are Daughters, The Greatest Night in Pop, No Other Land, The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, and Will and Harper. Next, moving on to another category that was introduced last year, the Best International Feature Film. And the nominees are from France, The Count of Monte Cristo, from Japan, Evil Does Not Exist, From Brazil, I'm Still Here. From Canada, Red Rooms. And from Germany, The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Moving on now to the Best Animated Feature. The nominees are Flow, Look Back, Memoir of a Snail, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, and The Wild Robot. Sticking with animated, we're going to move on to the voice categories, starting with Best Voice Actor. The nominees are Kit Connor, The Wild Robot, Peter Dinklage, Wicked Part 1, Louis Gossett Jr., If, Brian Tyree Henry, Transformers 1, and Pedro Pascal, The Wild Robot. And the nominees for Best Voice Actress are Io Debris, Inside Out 2, Maya Hawke, Inside Out 2, Lupita Nyong'o, The Wild Robot, Sarah Snook, Memoir of a Snail, and Jackie Weaver, Memoir of a Snail. Alright, so now we're going to get into some of the genre categories, starting with the action genre, and starting it off with the Best Action Sequence. The Assault on the War Rig from Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Elizabeth vs. Sue, the big fight in The Substance. The movie theater storm sequence in Twisters. Paul rides a sandworm from Dune Part 2, and Reggie fights off the intruders 1v15 in Bad Boys Ride or Die. Next, moving on to the Best Stunts. This was also a new category last year and is now a mainstay on the channel. The nominees for Best Stunts are Dune Part 2, The Fall Guy, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Gladiator 2, and Twisters. And now moving on to the acting categories. In the action categories, we have Best Actor in an Action Film. The nominees are Fred Hechinger, Gladiator 2, Chris Hemsworth, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Paul Mescal, Gladiator 2, Pierre Niney, The Count of Monte Cristo, and Aaron Pierre, Rebel Ridge. And the nominees for Best Actress in an Action Film, the nominees are Emily Blunt, The Fall Guy, Anai Demoustier, The Count of Monte Cristo, Charlie Fraser, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Connie Nielsen, Gladiator 2, and Anya Taylor-Joy, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. And now, to end out the Best Action categories, we have the Best Action Film. The nominees are The Count of Monte Cristo, The Fall Guy, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, Gladiator 2, and Rebel Ridge. And now we're going to move on to the acting in the sci-fi and or horror categories. So this is any actor in a sci-fi film and or a horror film. The nominees are David Dastmalchian, Late Night with the Devil, Timothée Chalamet, Dune Part 2, Hugh Grant, Heretic, Jack Haven, I Saw the TV Glow, and Dennis Quaid, The Substance. Now moving on to the Best Actress in a sci-fi and or horror film. The nominees are Lily Rose Depp, Nosferatu, Juliette Gariepe, Red Rooms, Demi Moore, The Substance, Margaret Qualley, The Substance, and Naomi Scott, Smile 2. And, of course, the nominees for Best Sci-Fi and or Horror Film, the nominees are Dune Part 2, I Saw the TV Glow, Late Night with the Devil, Red Rooms, and The Substance. And lastly, for our genre categories, we have our comedy and or musical films. Starting it off with the acting in those categories, we have the Best Actor in a comedy and or musical film. The nominees are Yora Borisov, Anora, Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, Jesse Eisenberg, A Real Pain, Mark Edelstein, Anora, and Glenn Powell, Hitman. And now the Best Actress in a comedy and or musical film. The nominees are Adria Arjona, Hitman, Cynthia Erivo, Wicked Part 1, Ariana Grande Botera, Wicked Part 1, and Mikey Madison, Anora, there's one more, and June Squibb, Thelma. And the nominees for Best Comedy and or Musical Film are Anora, Better Man, Dee Dee, Hitman, and The People's Joker. All right, now we're moving on to some of the tech categories, starting it off with Best Production Design. These are the sets, the set decorators, the props. The nominees for Best Production Design are Blitz, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, Megalopolis, and Wicked Part 1. And moving on, of course, to the Best Hair and Makeup. The nominees are Beetlejuice, A Different Man, Hitman, Nosferatu, and The Substance. Now we're going to move on to another tech category, Best Costume Design. The nominees are Gladiator 2, Maria, Nosferatu, The Substance, and Wicked Part 1. And now we're moving on to the Best Cinematography. The nominees are The Brutalist, Challengers, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, and The Substance. And next we have the Best Film Editing. The nominees are Anora, The Brutalist, Challengers, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, and The Substance. And now we're moving on to the Best Sound. The nominees are Blitz, Dune Part 2, Maria, The Substance, and Wicked Part 1. And the last tech category we have right now is the Best Visual Effects. The nominees are Better Man, Dune Part 2, Furiosa, A Mad Max Saga, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Megalopolis. And now moving on to the screenplay categories. First off, the Best Original Screenplay. The nominees are Anora, Challengers, A Different Man, I Saw the TV Glow, and The Substance. And next, moving on to the Best Adapted Screenplay, the nominees are Conclave, Hitman, I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, and Sing Sing. Next, we're going to move on to all of the acting categories, starting with the Best Young Actor or Actress. The way I decided to do this was they had to spend a majority of filming under the age of 21. So it was a little bit of a tough cutoff, but these actors were all either 21 or younger when their majority of their film was filmed. So here we go. The nominees for Best Young Actor or Actress are Ian Foreman, I Saw the TV Glow, Catherine Mullen Kupferer, Ghostlight, Arlie and Emmett Snowden, Night Bitch, Maisie Stella, My Old Ass, and Isaac Wang, Dee Dee. And now we're moving on to the Best Supporting Actor. The nominees are Yora Borisov, Anora, Mark Edelstein, Anora, Mike Feist, Challengers, Clarence Macklin, Sing Sing, and Josh O'Connor, Challengers. And now we're moving on to the Best Supporting Actress. The nominees are Adria Arjona, Hitman, Michelle Austin, Hard Truths, Monica Barbaro, A Complete Unknown, Felicity Jones, The Brutalist, and Margaret Qualley, The Substance. Next, we're going to move on to the Best Actor of the Year. The nominees are Adrian Brody, The Brutalist, Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing, Keith Kupferer, Ghostlight, Aaron Pierre, Rebel Ridge, and Glenn Powell, Hitman. And last but not least, for the individual acting categories, the nominees for Best Actress. The category I agonized over the most, the nominees are Ariana Grande Botera, Wicked Part 1, Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Hard Truths, Mikey Madison, Anora, Demi Moore, The Substance, and Fernanda Torres, I'm Still Here. And last but not least, for the acting categories, we of course have the Best Acting Ensemble, and the nominees are the cast of Anora, the cast of Conclave, the cast of Gladiator 2, the cast of The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and the cast of Sing Sing. Congratulations to all those casts, and everyone listed below are the respective nominees, but they really extend to the entire body of actors in that film, but these were the top billed for each of those categories. Next, moving on to the final two categories, of course, we have the penultimate category here, of Best Director. The nominees are Coralie Farge, The Substance; Luca Guadagnino, Challengers; Mohamed Russelov, The Seed of the Sacred Fig; Jane Schoenbrunn, I Saw the TV Glow; and Denis Villeneuve, Dune Part 2. And last but not least, the big one you are all been waiting for, Best Picture. And there are 10 nominees here. The nominees for Best Picture are Anora, Challengers, The Count of Monte Cristo, Ghostlight, Hitman, I Saw the TV Glow, The Remarkable Life of Evelyn, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, Sing Sing, and The Substance. And there you have it. Those are my nominees for every single category. All 42 categories. 42. It's going to be a jam-packed night. I didn't tell you when the Pickle Awards are. I should probably tell you that. It'll be occurring the night of the 23rd, February 23rd. That is also the night of the SAG Awards. I'm going to start my show at 7 p.m. Eastern, hoping to get that done before the SAG start at 8. If it carries over to like 8:15, 8:30, I usually try to keep my show around an hour long, but it will be live, so we'll have to see how that goes. And depending on all my guest presenters, how long they take to do their bits, because every year they get bigger and better than ever, the bits that my co-hosts do for the Pickle Awards. So they will be presenting some awards. I'll be presenting the rest of the awards. You will be voting. Remember, voting closes on 11:59 p.m. right before midnight Eastern time from the 17th to the 18th. So at midnight 12:01 on Tuesday the 18th, the polls will be closed. So you have to get your votes in by midnight on the 17th to get your voice heard. Remember, Best Picture is a preferential ballot, so make sure to tick all of them down. If you haven't seen a movie, I encourage you to go watch it before you vote. But if you haven't, just rank it 9 or 10. That's okay. I think you should vote the ones you've seen higher up on the list. That makes a lot of sense. So I really am so looking forward to seeing how you all vote. The voting is open now. The link is down in the description below, so you can go vote right now that the nominations have taken place. But thank you so much for watching. That's all I got for you today. We will see you on the 23rd at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 6 p.m. in Matt's time. That is 4 p.m. in Carly's time. Just using them as my benchmarks for Central and Western time zones. The Mountain time zone, I believe, would be 5 p.m. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, though, and I will see you guys very soon. I'm going to go get some tea. Have a good night, everyone. Or good day, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.